right, everyone. Welcome back to Pt3. We're into part 3 of our brilliant chat with Tommy Miller, and this one dives a bit deeper. Tommy talks about being contacted by the Scottish national team, why he chose not to pursue it, ups, downs of his career, and the lessons he's learned along the way. We also chat about the impact of club management and the role of agents and how all that shapes the player's journey. Tommy opens up about his transition from player to coach, what he's learned about perseverance, adaptability, and the importance of having good people around you in football. And we round things off with his thoughts on the future of football management and coaching and how much you can learn from both success and failure. Loads of insight, honesty. So settle in and enjoy part 3 of our conversation with Tommy Miller right here on Pt3. Can I jump back? Because I remember something that I read. Did you ever get contacted by Scotland, the national team?
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that, because there's quite a lot going on. I did. Willie Donaghy, assistant manager at Ipswich, said to me, have you got any Scottish relatives? Or I said, well, my grand's Scottish. I went, perfect. He says, give me your details, give us your birth certificate, I'll send it all to the Scottish FA. And I was one of them where, listen, a lot of lads jumped on stuff like this. You know, a lot of lads maybe went to Ireland for a holiday and all of a sudden they were playing for the Republic of Ireland, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I was one of them where I'm English through and through. England. And I knew I wasn't going to play for England. But at the same time, did I want to play for a Scotland? Did I want to play for a Wales? It never entered my head. And Willie was into my head all the time. Give us your birth certificate. I'll send it all to the FA. Send it to the Scottish FA. Sends it, gets a phone call not so long ago. You've been invited to a Scotland game, Scotland training camp, and they had a couple of games in that period. And I remember playing Derby County at home, and we'd won 2-1 or something like that. I think I scored the second goal. And after that game, I was flying to Scotland to meet up with them on the Sunday. I'd agreed to go up and so I'd see what it was all about. So I went to Scotland after the Derby game. And I'd got a knock on my ankle in the game against Derby. And I thought, might be struggling a little bit here. Anyway, I got through training and Bertie Vokes was the manager. And no word of a lie, we had a big meeting when I first got there and introduced to the lads and all that. And Chris Boyd was there. And there were some good names there, you know, some good lads. And Bertie Vokes' first words were, and I think it was his first international games coming up. And he went, on behalf of the Scottish FA, I'd like to welcome you all. And I thought, it's not a good sign, that. do you know what I mean? Like, straight away, so on behalf of the Scottish FA, I'd like to thank you all for coming. And going back to, didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. And I look back now, and I never have regrets in life and football and stuff like that. It is what it is, and you are where you are. And I just think, if I'd have done it, or if I'd have pursued it, I went home early. I didn't stay for the games. I ended up seeing the physio, and he said, "Listen, you're not fit with the ankle. It was all swollen and all that. I tried to get through training. I got through it, but I wasn't 100%. He said, "We'll send you back to Ipswich for treatment." And I remember getting phone calls after that, time and time after time, and I sort of turned it down. Which, in hindsight, people think, what an opportunity to play for Scotland. You know, and I look now at the Scottish team, and at that time it was in a mess, a real mess. You know, it was in a bad way. And I think I just didn't feel Scottish. And I know a lot of lads, like I've just said, play for Ireland, play for Wales, and never got anything, you know what I mean? But I just didn't feel that connection, and it wasn't right. Yeah. But it could have maybe, if I'd have gotten a few, well, if I could have gotten a few Scottish caps, it might have gotten me a few extra clubs, or it might have gotten me a bigger move, or it might have gotten me a team in Scotland, or, you know what I mean, looking back, or it could have opened doors elsewhere in later life to coaching, or who knows. Yeah. But at that time, in my head, it was not right. And I'll live with that decision until I die, really. Yeah. So that's how it is.
Was it Charlton who had Ireland at the time, when it was literally anyone who'd been to Ireland, you know, was going and playing for the Republic of Ireland?
Exactly. And I played with Matty Holland. And I remember speaking to Matty Holland about it, and he played for Ireland. And he scored in World Cups and everything. And it's like, what a great memory to play for and score in a World Cup. Was he Irish? Definitely wasn't Irish. But he had some connection which enabled him to play for Ireland. And is he bothered? He probably isn't. Whereas everyone's different. And I just think, listen, if I'd have played for Scotland and played in the World Cup, brilliant, and scored, it would have been the highlight of my career. Absolutely it would be. But Scotland were a long way from being in World Cups at that time. Yeah.
And that time then, you know, the Scottish football thing, it was a time when they were spending money So they, especially the bigger, Rangers, Celtic, and a lot of the sides there weren't Scottish players playing for Rangers and Celtic.
Yeah.
So and those players over the years, there's been good Scottish players playing in the Premier League or the top division.
Yeah.
They weren't around either.
No.
So they weren't getting a chance at English clubs, and they weren't even getting a chance at their own clubs.
Yeah.
So it ended up with a period where Scottish football suffered. Scottish national football suffered because Scottish players weren't getting an opportunity because Rangers and Celtic were spending money, and they changed it. And it can definitely have a massive impact if the top clubs are not bringing lads through. Then the national team's going to suffer, isn't it? So
definitely.
So when you kind of weren't enjoying it at Bury, and you said you were starting to get to that point, were you thinking about coaching as a next?
I was.
Manager?
Yeah, I was. I'd done my B-Badge, I'd completed that. So the next level was the A licence, which I was going to do and completed. And then I was ready for home as such.
Right.
And Hartlepool was my home.
Yeah.
And I remember Colin Cooper, they were struggling for players, the situation they were in. They didn't have a lot of money to spend. And I remember Colin Cooper, who I knew, I'd done a few sportsman's dinners with over the years. And
You were the ex-Middlesbrough.
yeah, I knew him and his dad.
Work with him now?
Yeah, great. Yeah, he's a great bloke. And he just said, why don't you come in, and see if we can get you going again, really. I mean, I was 35, 36. So getting us going again is probably the wrong words, but try and get loving it again, you know what I mean? And if it was to be any club, then Hartlepool would do that for me.
Of course. Yeah.
And it felt like home, going back there. I'd start there as a kid. It means everything to me, Hartlepool. They give me my chance. If it wasn't for them, I'd be nowhere. And I've got a real affinity with the club.
That has to be mad running back out with Victoria Park.
Mental, full circle, and Billy Horner, I think in part one, we mentioned this, the word's still in the ear. Make sure you make the most of this because it's gone. And that was a 16-year-old. And now I'm back at Hartlepool 20 years later, playing for Hartlepool again and like full circle. But then it didn't go according to plan because I got an injury to my calf. I remember playing against Cambridge away and I felt my calf. I sort of hurt my calf, went a little bit, you know what I mean, tore it. And I just did not recover.
Right.
I was out for forever. Colin Cooper moved on. Ronnie Moore had come in. There was a big change in management. And I played a few games at the beginning of the season. And I was stuck on 599 games, career games. And anyone who knows me knows I'm a bit OCD. And I could not finish on 599. Definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get back fit towards the end of the season. I mean, Buxton was a physio. I got sent to St. George's Park. I got sent down London to see specialists. I could not get back from this calf tear. I had a big tear in my calf and I was doing everything in the gym, every rehab thing, strengthening, felt great. I was going out to train. I was lasting 10 minutes, anything quick, and it was just going again.
What was it?
Kept re-tearing it. It was a nightmare. I went to London and the specialist looked at it and he went, this is quite common in athletics with athletes. Said you had a big problem with the scar tissue and all that sort of stuff, and it keeps pulling and sticking on the inside. That's why you're getting this tear, this issue. Every time you try and do sharp movements. So in my head, I'm thinking, it's time. Do you know what I mean? I'm 36. I had a good look at it. I had a decent career, but I'm stuck on 599 games. Hartlepool were bobbing up and down. They were near the bottom. Ronnie Moore came in and saved them. Yeah, they were going to go. You know what I mean? And I'd been in that situation as a young kid at Hartlepool where it's not nice. People fighting to pay bills and wages, they don't want to get relegated, especially out of the Football League. As it happens, Ronnie saves us. I came on as sub in one of the games, the game that kept us safe. So I got to 600. That was me. The club was safe. I'd got to 600. Everything was happy all around, really. And that was me sort of at the end. I'd love to have stayed at Hartlepool after that in some sort of coaching capacity. But if I'm honest with you, I think I wouldn't say Ronnie Moore saw me as a threat, but he'd done a good job. He'd got the club promoted and he was ready to push on, and maybe he wanted younger lads around him. But I just felt it was an ideal opportunity to sort of, I knew the club, I knew the people, I had a good affinity with the fans. I just felt it was a good time for me to maybe go down that route and for him to maybe keep me involved. But as it happens, he didn't. And then we move on. And then I ended up going to Halifax, which was my which is another story.
But the last game there, Tom, where they stayed up, was that at Victoria Park? Was it?
It was. So I think there was about 3 games left.
Right.
Or,
Okay.
two, maybe 2 games left, I think, because they played Carlisle on the last game away. So you didn't want to go to Carlisle wanting something, you know what I mean? And we won that last home game.
Yeah.
And obviously there was pitch invasions and there's all sorts of stuff, but they were celebrating staying up.
Yeah.
They should never be in that position. And if you look at them now, well, it's a shambles.
Mhm.
The club is a shambles, you know, from top to bottom. It's probably one of the worst teams Hartlepool's ever had. Not this season, the last previous seasons. And Simon Grayson's now in charge, and I wish him all the best. Elliot Dixon's gone in to help him. Elliot's a good coach. You know, my mate's been there, Spike, as a manager who should never have been sacked. You know, did a good job, had a good cup run, generated some money, should have been given an opportunity in the next season, but didn't. But like I said, from top to bottom, the club is in trouble.
Yeah.
In a mess, really. You've got people at that club making decisions.
It's such a shame as well because, like, I went to watch last season. I went to watch Hartlepool v Buxton.
Yeah.
I got a ticket. Daz Williams got us a ticket put down. I thought I'll have a little look down. I went down and
I think that was at the game.
Yeah.
The same game, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was actually gobsmacked at the level.
Yeah.
It was just boom ball.
Yeah.
Until Hartlepool got a goal and it settled them down a bit and they started playing. But Boston, at any opportunity to launch the ball in the box or kick it long, I was just sat watching the game going, I couldn't have played in that.
This is
No
not
way.
football, yeah. And listen, I get it because some lads can't play how you want to play and all that at that level.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's hard. And it's also physical at that level.
Yeah.
So you do need to mix it up a little bit. You're not going to be given license to play this free-flowing football. You've got to go direct, but you've got to go direct with quality rather than just boom it forward. And I'm looking at the team now. I've looked at teams down there previously, and you've got a 5'10" centre forward, and lads are booting the ball up to him, expecting to win it against 2-3 centre halves who's 6'2" plus. Well, what chance you got? And then you're just looking for scraps and feeding off scraps. But it's just a shame to see the position and the situation they're in at the minute.
I heard a rumour, and I don't know how true it is, but I heard a rumour Ryan Reynolds
Absolutely true.
was all ready to buy.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
True.
They
Yeah.
wanted more money, and he was like,
Yeah, walked away. He got messed about too much. Yeah, that's very true.
look what he's done to Wrexham.
That could have been Hartlepool.
Yeah.
He wanted to tie it in with Deadpool, Hartlepool, you know, the film and stuff. There was a link that he wanted to. Apparently, a friend of mine saw the deal, and it's definitely they wanted Hartlepool, and they got messed about. The goalpost got changed, got changed again, and they walked away and ended up going to Wrexham.
That's
And I just
incredible.
think that
And now look
club
at
is
Wrexham.
a sleeping giant.
Hartlepool's massive.
Has been even since we were there.
It's the full town. You get that going, the full town will turn out and support them. And all they want is hard work, commitment, and energy and desire on the pitch. And give it your all
Yeah.
for the badge.
They've got the drum in the corner.
But it's bouncy. When Challoner was there, I mean, everyone looked at Challoner. What a job he did.
Yeah.
What a job he did. You know, good cup runs, got them up, you know, promoted. Brilliant. And then he left, and everyone's thinking, what are you leaving for? He went to Stockport, who were in the lower league than Hartlepool. He knew what he was doing.
Of course he did.
He's not stupid.
Yeah.
Now look at Stockport. Now look at Hartlepool.
Exactly.
There's only one direction the clubs were going, and they were going to pass each other. And that's because of, listen, he gets a lot of bad press, Rad Singh, and whatever is happening. But there's people at that football club who should be nowhere near the football club.
Right.
And it needs to be moved on or sold on or whatever, and people in place who actually care for the club, who want the right things for
There's
it.
only one way for a mismanaged club, and you've seen it over the years.
Yeah.
The big giants that end up down the leagues because they've been mismanaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's not just Harley, there's loads of them.
Loads.
If people can't see that from it's a business, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you mismanage a business, there's only one way it's going.
Yeah.
Or Darlington.
Yeah.
You know, that's a prime example, isn't it, of a club
Absolutely.
who just continue to sink.
Had to start again, went out of existence.
Yeah.
Had to start again, and I think Raj Singh was the chairman then, you know what I mean? Got me 6
6
off Telford in the cup, which
Did they?
Yeah, which was a bad one because obviously they were home. They'd expect to win that, really. Telford's in the same league. Good chance to get to the first round of the FA Cup. Money, yeah, shame.
So obviously you've you know, the Hartlepool thing, you know, you thought it might have been that way you could have went in and started maybe your coaching and your management, which
Yeah.
would be brilliant. You know, local, that's your club.
Yeah.
So that didn't transpire, so kind of What was next for you?
So I'm sort of looking around and thinking, what am I going to do? Do I still want to play? Similar to when I left Swindon, really, with the Bury situation. The season started.
Did you get your calf sorted?
Calf, yeah, well, it felt all right, but I hadn't done anything. I wasn't training on a day-to-day basis. I was going off for the occasional run and it felt all right, but at my pace, you know what I mean? I wasn't doing anything explosive or sharp. You know, it's different football training, isn't it? With the twists and the movements and stuff like that. And then I get a phone call from Halifax. They were in the National League and they were part-time. And I looked at it and I thought, right, okay, Tuesday night, Thursday night, they could train. Yeah, I was doing a little bit at Hartlepool College as well, sort of coaching with their team and sort of having a little look at that, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
So I thought, this is going to suit me, this, go to maybe Halifax. They'd started the season and again, hadn't started well. So I think it was about October I'd signed for them. Darren Kelly was the manager and Jim Harvey was his assistant manager, a bit of experience. So he rings us and he just said, listen, can you come and help us out? And I was like, okay, I can do it. Tuesday night, Thursday night training. I think they were only part-time team in that league, which was going to be tough, and hence the reason why they'd started not great.
Yeah.
And then after one game, he gets the sack. It was like Jimmy Harvey, who was the assistant, he decided to do the job, and then he asked me to sort of stay on and help him as an assistant, which suited me perfect. You know, I'm 36. 37 coming up, ideal opportunity to get into coaching, get into management. I'm on with my badges, you know, all that sort of stuff. It's the next progression. And that season, I learned a lot. You know, Jim sort of let me take a lot of training sessions and I got a real feel for it. Some good lads, some good, honest lads at that level. But the part-time element was tough in terms of trying to compete with other teams full-time, especially on say you've got a midweek game Tuesday night away, say down Barnet, for example. Lads have got to finish work early. Lads have got to get time off work. Lads have got to get on the bus. And then you've got to travel down there, 4 hours, maybe it's from Halifax, 3-4 hours. Then it's getting back late. Then you've got to be up for work the next day. It has an effect mentally as well. And we sort of, I think the damage was done early on at Halifax, and that's daft for me to say that because it was only a couple of months into the season, but they had some damaging results, you know, some really heavy results. And they just didn't sort of recover from it.
Ex-league club as well, weren't they?
Ex-league club, massive club, great ground, you know, nice pitch, really, really good setup. But the part-time element was a factor. And Jim and myself just couldn't sort of, we'd had a few good results, but in the end, the club went down. But in the same time, we got to the FA Trophy final at Wembley, and which was a massive occasion for the club, for the town. But it was just a shame that the club had gone down. We went down on the last game of the season. And I remember the game like it was yesterday. We hit the crossbar in the last minute. If that had gone in, Halifax had stayed up. And the sort of, not the great escape, but it would have been an achievement in itself, considering where the club was and the sort of struggle they had at the start of the season. That was in the National League. So there was a few rumours that Jim was to lose his job. Obviously, I was with him. I was still fairly young. In terms of managing coaching, and there was a few sort of rumblings that I might get the job, and I was sort of, do I want the job? Am I ready for it? We go to the trophy final. We played Grimsby. Grimsby had won the league, won the National League, and we beat them, which was an unbelievable day again, going back to sort of your highs in your career and being at Wembley and winning again, going up the steps, you know, and this was from a coaching point of view now, so wasn't playing, you know, I only played, I think, 1 or 2 games for Halifax, and that's been done.
Your very last game, who was that? For Halifax? Was it your last training game?
It was in the FA Cup against Wickham Wanderers.
Right.
And Luke O'Nien played for Wickham.
Did he?
And he played midfield. And I remember that day, and because I was slowing down then, I was saying, you stop running around. Busy like he is now, and the career he's had now is unbelievable. But he played midfield that day. And he was running all over. And I probably...
He came to Sunderland as a midfielder.
He came as a midfielder, yeah.
20 years or 20 years, maybe 18 years previous to that, I was doing that to other people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm thinking, I wish I was in your shoes once. Slow down, will you? And he's running all over, busy. And I'm like, wow. So yeah, I think that was my last game against Wickham Wanderers in the FA Cup for Halifax. And then obviously then going into management. So the trophy final was brilliant. You win 1-0. But then Jim lost his job just after it, which was a shame because he's a smashing fella, Jimmy Harvey, you know, ex-Tranmere. I mean, he had a lot to offer, but he went and I went. you know, and they moved on, and I ended up going into Spennymoor,
Right.
which probably suited me because I wasn't travelling, and Spennymoor were in the Northern Premier League, which was only a league below. Jason rang us and he just said, listen, do you want to come in? It's a perfect fit for you. I'm looking for someone to coach, someone to help me. You know, I manage the team, but I want someone to be hands-on and coach. So I went in assistant, at Spennymoor, which ambitious club, you know,
Yeah.
progressed every year. They're looking to get up and do well. You know, they've got big plans behind the scenes. And
Groves either.
Brad was the chairman, you know, good bloke, you know, put a lot of money into the club, relentless, you know, don't get talking for him too long, you'll not get a word in. But he's a good fella, you know, and like I say, he's done wonders for the club, and so is Jason Ainsley, you know, the main figureheads of Spennymoor.
It's weird because obviously I've spent 8 seasons at Hetton Lions with both of them. Brad was the manager.
Yeah.
And we used to be in the dressing room, and we had obviously we won the All England 3 times, and you know, numerous county cups. We had a ridiculous team. It was like a Northern League for that team.
Yeah.
And the lads used to come in the dressing room, Digger and that, and Adam Johnson. They'd won the Vars with Whitley Bay and stuff. And each season went by, and it was somebody else coming in the dressing room who won the Vars at whichever club they'd been at.
Yeah.
And he just used to say, lads, enjoy it now while you can. He says, but once I've dominated on a Sunday, he says, I'll be the one who'll be dominating on a Saturday. So he says, you can take your Vars medals and shove them up your ass, because I'll be higher than that when I'll start dominating on a Saturday. And to be fair, he stuck to his word. He took Spenny to where they are now. Yeah. But he is a good guy. He is a good guy.
Tom, can I ask, was it a conscious decision? Was there a moment where you went, that's it, that's the end of playing for me? Or did it just naturally sort of
I think
fade?
the calf injury.
Yeah.
I think the calf was a sign. I think it was telling me that's me done. I've had a good innings, good career, good longevity. You know, 600 game is good number. It's time. I think your body's telling you that it's time. Yeah. And it was so frustrating because I'd love to have played a lot more games at Hartlepool that season and helped them more because they were struggling, but it wasn't to be. And it just kept breaking down.
Was it hard mentally, Tom, that knowing that it was over?
Because you're turning up, you're going to train and you're stuck in the physio room and you're out for long periods and you're watching the team struggle on a Saturday, and it's like you'd love to help. Even at my age, I'd still got a lot to offer and sort of guide them a little bit on the field, but I was twiddling my thumbs and helpless, really.
It is horrible. And I've had a couple of seasons at the over 40s, and whenever I can't play, because obviously I'm Charlie's footy and I scout, and when I can't play, I'm gutted. Like I'm gutted that I can't play, and I don't think I'll ever go from you.
And that goes for your love of the game. I mean, I'm slightly different now because people have asked me to play on a Sunday and asked me to sort of do over 40s and all that, and I'm not saying I've got no interest, but it doesn't sort of give me that buzz. I don't think it will give us that buzz, even though you'd be playing with some great lads.
Yeah.
But I just think the thought of getting kicked or someone maybe trying to snap you, or you know, that sort of, you'll always have somebody who might think, he played Football League, did he? I'm going to snap in today. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But that's the impression I get.
I retired, like I'm saying, retired from like Northern League at 32.
So you've missed out on quite a bit, maybe.
Because Laura just had Ivy, our second one, and she needed that help. Like weekends were just like that, footy.
Yeah.
And I just made that decision. That was me. And Tom, I could have easily played till I was 35, 36, 37. I mean, I still do all right over 40. Coming 47.
Yeah.
And I knew I'd gone too early.
Yeah.
So I think that's my little bit where I want to get it back. My body doesn't feel like that after.
And I think because I've been involved still, like coach and stuff, albeit I'm not at the minute, I think you don't miss it as much. Do you know what I mean? Because you're still around,
still involved,
players, and you're still dealing with players, and you're sort of training and all that. You still have a bit of banter with them, even though it's not on a day-to-day basis. Certainly with the part-time element, you're still sort of involved in it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can I ask you a question before we move on to your coaching and you're in at Spennymoor? You've played for a lot of managers over the years and you know, big names, DeCanio and Keane and people like that. Who stands out as the best manager you've ever worked under? I
think you've got to look at sort of the most enjoyable period, and that was at Ipswich,
right?
The Joe Royle.
Joe Royle, yeah.
So definitely him. You know what I mean? And we were so close to getting promoted, and 2 years on the trot. We should have done it. You know, the team we had, we were good to watch. We were entertainers. You know, we'd score goals. It was just a real good time to play in my career, and he got the best out of me, definitely. Yeah. And there's been other managers, you know, who I've loved playing for, but as a standout, Joe Royle.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that time. When you've played under Joe Royle and the other managers, because you knew you were going to go into coaching at some point, I guess, especially as you're getting later on in your
Yeah.
career. Did you watch them and think, I'm going to take that and take bits from...
You do. You take certain elements from certain people along the way as you pick it up, and I think it'd be rude not to, because of the caliber who you're working under,
Yeah.
or you've worked for, and you've worked for some big names, so you've got to listen to them, definitely, and you've got to learn from them, and you take bits and you start making notes as well as you get older.
Right.
You might think, oh, we did this in training today, I'll have a little, write that down and remember it and stuff like that. So yeah, you pick up things along the way, and you pick up things that you won't do as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as much as there's good stuff, you think, well, I wouldn't have done that, even though they've been around a lot longer than you and more experience in that terms. But you just think, you try and adjust it to what your players want, I think, when you go into teams, because lads do part-time, you might want to do shape. But you don't want to do shape with them all night because they'll just get bored. Lads have been to work on a part-time element, so you don't want them standing around forever. I'm going to do this, stay there like that, you move into that position. Whereas on a full-time, you might spend an hour on it, which can drain you,
Yeah.
but is needed for that level.
Perfect. So Spenny Moore. So you go in there and you go in as assistant or coach, or what was
Yeah, and it was perfect for me because I was nearly completing my A licence now, so I was needing the hours as well to coach on a daily basis, and I enjoy sort of working with adults as well. I mean, I'd done a little bit at Middlesbrough with the academy. I worked with the under-14s there. Hayden Hackney was one of them, obviously, who's gone on to big things at Middlesbrough. Nathan Wood-Gordon, who got a good move to Southampton. Kane Sykes, another one who's at South Shields now, yeah. There were some good lads there. I did enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy the other side of it in terms of the computer stuff. I'd gone in as a part-time coach, and what I'd find is I was out, I think it was like 3-4 times a week. And the money wasn't great, but it wasn't all about the money. It was about learning and experience things and sort of trying to help and coach, get experience from it and try and help the younger generation. And I was getting in on a night, like 11 o'clock at night, and I was on the computer like 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? Do you know what? PMA stuff. And it was a nightmare. I don't want to be doing all this. And I realised the game's changing. You've got to go on the computer and all that sort of stuff. But that's not me. I'm hands-on. I want to coach. I want to sort of develop. I want to do stuff on the grass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not me. So I lasted at Middlesbrough about 6 months, and this was in the time when I was sort of Halifax and just leaving Halifax. And as much as I enjoyed it, it was a nice break to get away from it and to get into senior football with Spennymoor. And because I believe that's what I'm not better with, but what I sort of enjoy the most. So Jason rang me, said, will you come in? I thought, perfect. He wants me to coach. He wants me to take training. It's good experience for me, and I loved it. I really did. I enjoyed it.
Did you do a lot of all of the sessions, and did Gia kind of...
Yeah, and Gia sort of took a back seat, which was perfect. Gia would step in and see if things from time to time and advise and all that, but he gave me sort of an open book to work on stuff, how we want to play. He'd obviously tell us how we want to play, and we'd work together, but it worked really well. It did.
Good. So how did things develop there?
So I had 6 years there. And I think there was 4 or 5 years as an assistant manager, and then I had 2 years as a manager, but one of them years was COVID related. So obviously it got stopped the season, and I think we went 6 months without kicking a ball, you know what I mean, which was a real shame. And then I had 4 months, so the COVID was over, the new season was starting, and I was having a go at it. I was the man in charge now, and I was the man making decisions.
Who did you have in with you?
I brought in, so we had Jason Kennedy was already at the club, so I made him sort of play coach, even though he still wanted to play. And Stuart Parnaby, who I'd used Stewie, he was very good with the fitness side of things, and he was sort of helping out as an assistant manager. He'd give his input. Great lads, fantastic lads. But I was quite intense because I just thought, if it fails, it'll be on my back. Do you know what I mean? So I was quite hands-on, so I possibly should have let them do a bit more, a bit more responsibility, give them a bit more responsibility. I give them bits, but maybe it's not enough. I was quite wanting to do it all. But maybe that's because I was keen, I was eager. I'm a young manager. It was my first sort of chance of being in the hot seat. And I was there 4 months.
Right.
So I had a year's contract. I was there 4 months. The first 2 months was brilliant. Top of the league. We had a fantastic start, playing some good football. And then the next 2 months didn't go according to plan. We sort of hit a dip. And it's easy to say injuries, which we did have. I lost 2 of my main centre-halves, James Curtis and Carl Magnay, James Curtis was an absolute warrior.
Wow.
How he never played Football League, I will never know. He was outstanding. Outstanding, and he would not miss a game, but he got a bad injury. Hurt his knee at Southport away. And after that, I couldn't replace him.
Yeah.
And Carl Magner, he was picking up a few injuries again. Age thing possibly, and Mags, when he played, he could read the game brilliantly, you know, fantastic at that level, you know, played higher. Two really good experienced centre-halves, and this is no disrespect to the lads who sort of came in and filled in after that. They just weren't good enough or weren't on that level, and they were a big miss.
It's hard.
You know, I had the best striker in the league, Glenn Taylor, who scores goals week in, week out. You know, I had Ramshaw behind him, real mainstays of the football club. And I was trying to change things slightly and slowly and surely, but I wouldn't say it wasn't working, because I believe that we had a good team. We just had a bit of a bad run. You know, we went down to mid-table, and Brad sort of decided to make a decision. I was very disappointed, because I thought the service I'd give to Spennymoor deserved more.
Yeah.
You know, 4 months as a manager is nothing. And like I said, the first 2 months was going great. So for us to have a dip, it happened. We would have got it back. I'm more or less confident we would have got it back, more or less with the players we had. And with, if we'd have gotten James back and Mags back and kept them consistently in the team, kept them fit. But he decided to make a change. I remember Tony Wilson rang me, one of the directors, and just said, listen, Brad's looking to make a change. And I was I wasn't sort of surprised by it, because I know what Brad's expectations are.
Yeah.
The budget was good, but it probably wasn't as good as what he makes it out to be.
Mhm.
It was good and it was competitive, but it was a top 10 budget.
Yeah.
And we were in the top 10.
Yeah.
So the expectations from him and as a club are massive, because they want to improve every year. But the playoffs is the way they want to be, and that's where they want to get to. And we got the playoffs when Jason was managing my first year there, and we got beat on penalties to Chorley. So we were that close to the National League then. And then after that, we saw dipped in and out. We were around the playoffs and stuff like that. And then I had to get into the playoffs. I'm more like, that's easy saying that. Do you know what I mean? But I had to get in there.
Yeah.
And then after me, they chucked a load of money at it. Do you know what I mean? And the club hasn't been in the playoffs since.
No.
So there might have been progression. Spike's doing a great job, by the way.
It's doing well.
But the managers previous to Spike, you know, Bernard and, you know, the lads who were at Salford, you know, John O and Bernard Morley, two great guys. It just didn't quite work for them. But they got a lot of money to spend. But they were travelling from Manchester and
As joint managers.
as joint managers. But good experienced lads. I can see why they brought them in. But didn't quite work. And like I say, give them a lot of money and it backfired. And the club haven't been in the playoffs, like I said, since.
Yeah.
Or haven't been in them, you know, no matter what money. I hope they do it this year, because, like I say, Spike's a good friend of mine, and brilliant result for them yesterday. They've gotten to the FA Cup first round, and, you know, they got to the trophy final last year, which was unbelievable for the club. You know, they get to Wembley, brilliant. So I do hope. There's no hard feelings. I still speak to Jason, you know, Brad messages every now and again, and you move on in football.
Yeah, you do.
But just going back to this about loyalty in football, I think it was my second season at Spennymoor as an assistant manager, and Halifax wanted me to be the manager. So I had a phone call from Halifax saying, would I want the job? And I remember going to meet the chairman, and he wanted to give me and a lad called Jamie Fullerton the job as joint managers, because I knew the club, obviously been there, there was still players there from my time, and I turned it down. So you look back and think, if I'd have took the job, but probably I'm not saying I am a nice lad, because I'm sort of loyal as well.
Yeah.
It was one of them where I'm enjoying it at Spennymoor as well, and we were doing well. So you know what I mean? So it wasn't like we were struggling, and Halifax weren't doing great in the league above, but it was an opportunity Halifax were full-time now.
Right.
So it was an opportunity to get into full-time football and work my way up the ladder and be a manager then. Was I ready? I don't know, because I didn't take the plunge and go there, but stayed at Spennymoor. Like I thought I'd getting a bit more time for me loyalty to the club, but didn't. So 4 months and that was it. Yeah, that's football. They move on, and I've had a few stints elsewhere.
So did you, when you'd finished playing, have you kept the same agent as to be in the management side?
So I sort of fluctuate. I didn't really have an agent. My dad helped me a little bit. I had the PFA as well. I had one lad who did me deal at Sheffield Wednesday, so I didn't sort of have one set agent.
Right.
And agents, I got stung a little bit when I was at Hartlepool.
Right.
Because there was a lad all over me. I won't see his name. And I signed a contract sort of a bit naively with them. Mm-hmm. We'll give you this. We'll do this for you. You know, they promise you the world. And I was doing well. I was scoring goals. Didn't hear anything from him. Thought, all right, okay. So I got the PFA involved when Ipswich was circulating. All of a sudden, I get a phone call. All right, we need to do that move for you. What do you know? Pound signs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all they're in. Not all of the agents, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
Money oriented. We'll do this. We'll get you these boots. We'll do that. They don't do anything for nothing.
No.
They get their cut along the way. Don't worry about that. So when I signed for Ipswich, going back a long time now and rewinding the clock, the PFA mentioned it to the club that, listen, there's an agent circulating in the background who could be entitled to some money. So Ipswich sort of covered that cost, which was brilliant of them. It wasn't a load, but it was obviously a bit of money to sort of keep him off my back. And that sort of put me off agents for a long time, really.
That move there, Tom, Wikipedia, which isn't always right, but it says it was 750,000.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I'm honest with you. Someone said it was near $1 million. Someone said it was 800. You know, I think at the time, and it might be still, it was a record price paid for a team from the lower leagues, a lad from the lower leagues going into the Premier League.
Yeah.
The jump. I don't know if it still is that. You know what I mean?
Which move was that, Tom?
Hartlepool to Ipswich.
Yeah, when I first went, yeah. So
that's got to be some kind of record for Hartlepool as well, though, hasn't it?
It's the record still of Hartlepool, yeah, it is, yeah. So yeah, you just got to be a bit wary of agents, you know, because they circulate and they're all over you.
Yeah.
Well,
But
that's why they become agents, because
exactly, and I think you need an agent if maybe you're struggling for a club and you need a bit of help and
they were
had a game on and stuff, don't they? Yeah.
playing games.
And there's some big hitters on there. Wasn't there big names, and you think surely they could get a club, but obviously not yet.
It's not easy, is it? You look and you think.
Harry Kane's brother's a football.
He's his agent, isn't he? He looks after.
But he's only got him.
That's all he needs.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all he needs.
Rashford's brother's done a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
See, if you'd have made it higher, I could have get a job as your agent. Brilliant stuff, Tom. Tom, do you want to talk about any of the other bits and bobs? Did you go into? Was it with Julio Arca?
I did.
Was it Shields? Was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So I left Spennymoor and I thought maybe it's time for a little bit of time out. You know what I mean? Went away, sort of had a little bit of a break, and then sort of started going to watch games again. You know, getting the not that I fell out of love with it, but just sort of showing your face, going to watch games and getting back in amongst it. I got a phone call from Buxton, actually. Jamie Vermiglio, who was manager of Chorley. I've come up with against his teams in the past. And he rang me and just said, listen, I'm looking for someone to come and help me at Buxton. And I looked at where Buxton was on the map and I thought, you winding me up here or what? This is far, you know. Yeah. Not just far, but just a nightmare to get to. It's sort of in the Peak District and it's all windy roads. Anyway, after all that, I decided to go.
Right. Okay.
So he sort of persuaded me to go. He said, come down and have a look. He said, you're not doing anything at the minute. I said, well, I'm not. I said, but I'm quite enjoying just going and watching games. And, you know, he said, come and get amongst it and all that sort of stuff. And Jamie's a really good guy, a really good fella. So there wasn't many people I would do it for. So I thought, right, I'll go and help you. You know, Buxton, up and coming club, you know, got a good budget behind them, you know, want to do well. Similar to how Spennymoor were, you know, want to progress, want to get up the leagues. So I went, and after the long drive, you know, you go over that Woodhead and all that, Snape passing you up and down hills, and it's pitch black in the night, and I'm thinking, oh, God. So I decided to go. So I think it was 6 months there, and really good club.
Yeah.
Location obviously didn't suit, part-time, some good players there. But in the end, Jamie decided it wasn't for him. He'd come from Chorley, where he'd been all his career, went to Buxton, everything was all new for him. It was a new start, fresh. I think him and the chairman had a few difference of opinions. The chairman was hard work to deal with. He decided, I think it was after about 5-6 months, that he was going to resign, you know, which was hard for him because he had a 2-year contract. He was getting good money. And I was only there because of him. So there was no intention of me staying. So I ended up obviously leaving as well. And so let me tell you, I do not miss that drive. It's an absolute mission. So after that, so that was Tuesday, Thursday, and then obviously a game on a Saturday. So it was 3 times, which was 3 times too much because in the winter it was a nightmare. The lorries are coming round them bends and it was pitch black. It's back to the things you do for football and the love of the game, exactly. And so then, going back to South Shields. Julio, obviously, I played with at Sunderland.
I was going to ask if that's what the connection was.
Yeah, and I hadn't spoken for years, you
right.
know, and through an agent rang me and said, listen, through Craig rang me and said, listen, there's a chance Julio might get the South Shields job. He was a figure there, you know, he played there and helped them get up the leagues, and adored by
Absolutely.
not just the Sunderland fans, but South Shields fans as well. And what a great guy, you know, excellent lad. So I met up with Julio. He said, listen, there's a chance I'm going to get the job. Would you come in with me? You know the leagues. You've been around this level for a few years. I said, absolutely, you know, and no problem whatsoever. They were in the National League North. Kevin Phillips had just getting them promoted. Again, he got him promoted and left. I don't know what happened with him and the chairman. You know, obviously they've had a difference of opinions along the way. Got promoted, and it was the National League North, which is what I'd been in with Spennymoor, been in with Buxton, so I knew the levels. Julio said I need some help. And I went in, and
How long ago was this, Dublin?
this was a couple of years ago. I'm not sure the actual, I remember he's going, but it was a couple of years ago, yeah. So 2-year contract. And similar to Spennymoor when I was there, really, we started the season really well, playing some unbelievable football. Julio's got some really good ideas, you know, up-and-coming coach, wanted to play the right way, recruited quite well, you know, got some good lads in, and started the season brilliantly. Then had a little dip, you know, got beaten in the FA Cup, which is never a good sign, you know, getting beaten in the FA Cup qualifying rounds. You want to try and progress as a club, and it helps generate money as well. The chairman in the background's starting to say he wants to cut the budget. So the budget was going to be less than what it was in the previous season, albeit the previous season they were in the league below. So, listen, the budget was great. Don't get me wrong, it was a really good budget, but he wanted to cut it. And it was a full-time club, but it was the most part-time, full-time club, if you get me.
Yeah.
There wasn't staff there to facilitate a full-time club.
Yeah.
There was me, Julio, a goalie coach. There was no fitness coach, which was important. We were desperate to bring a fitness coach in on a day-to-day basis. We needed one, but there was just a part-time one coming in every now and again. Just things like that. No kit man. You know how the things you're used to when you've been in a full-time and environment. And I get certain people might have to do 2 jobs. I get all that, but if you want to do full-time, do full-time. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to be part-time, you all know what part-time entails. Whereas don't give it the full-time umbrella and not have the full-time structure behind it. So anyway, we there was a few sort of rumblings in the background. Chairman wasn't happy, got beaten in the FA Cup, started getting beaten a couple of league games, but we were still 8th in the league, you know what I mean? The objective at the beginning of the season was to stay up or mid-table. Have a good look at the first season. Second year, push on and try and get to the next level. So the goalposts got changed. Julio wasn't happy. We weren't happy. We got beat off Blythe, which was a bad result, if I'm honest with you, at home. Blythe Spartans, bad result. And then after that, he wanted to make a change, which with the club were like I said, 9th in the league or whatever, 10th in the league, which was still in a good position. So just before Christmas, Julio was relieved of his duties, and like I said, I was only there because of Julio to help him, and I wasn't staying on. And like I say, they move on, and they brought Elliot in.
Right.
So but again, football.
The story with Elliot, I've spoken to Elliot about it. Carlton's funeral was the after-do was at the Stadium of Light. And I hadn't seen Elliot for a while, and we got chatting away, and I just said, like, how's it going? He said, we've had a bad end of the season. He said, but I've had conversations with the chairman, and, you know, I've got a good relationship with him. And it seems all positive, so fingers crossed. Within 2 days, picked the paper, social media, Elliot Dickens left the club, and I was just like...
Yeah, and I think from Elliot's point of view, I think that the budget was cut again, I think, from when we were there. And so I think you had to rely on a lot of younger ones. I mean, Elliot's obviously background's being with the academy at Sunderland, you know, and done a fantastic job. And he's used to developing young players and getting them to play the right way. And I think they've seen that as a good fit for where the club is at that time. And Elliot got a lot longer than obviously Julio or myself. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. And obviously they've got another man in charge now who's doing really well in Buxton.
It's you know, people always say to me, like, you know, I mean, I prefer the development side of coaching. I think we had this conversation off script. It's for me. Somebody said to me recently, "Why haven't you never gone and done you know that kind of it?" There's too much jumping around for me. You know, like you say, you know, I haven't had that background where I'm comfortable in terms of having a professional career, 600 games and stuff. You know, so I haven't got that where I can go take a chance here, move around there, take a chance there. At the minute, I need stability with a job. For me, there's too much of it.
There's no real security, certainly in the lower levels. There's no security in football. You know, you just touched on there. You're jumping about here, there, and everywhere, and it's like you need someone behind you a chairman who's going to sort of back you and support you all the way.
Yeah.
It's not going to be rosy all the time. You
Yeah.
are going to get beat. Believe it or not, you're going to get beat.
Yeah.
You're not going to win all the time. So there is going to be times where you might go through bad spells in football. That happens. Happens at every club, every level.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you need a chairman who's willing to back you, support you, and believe in you. Do you know what I mean? Believe in the things you're doing. And again, depending on how ambitious you are, you need money. You know, you need money behind you. If you've got the best budget in the league, you should be up the top.
Of course you should.
No, and then you've got a reason to say, well, you're not doing your job there as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But if you've got a mid-table budget, you are where you are.
Yeah.
If you do any better than mid-table, brilliant. It's a bonus. Well done.
Definitely.
Exactly. So there's got to be sort of realisms in terms of ownerships of football clubs as to where they want to go.
I think once you get on that management kind of merry-go-round
Cycle.
League 2 and above,
Yeah.
once you get on that, I think you'll stay.
You're on it.
Yeah.
You see lads getting jobs and you think, how are they getting a job? Do you know what I mean? You look and you think, how is he getting in there?
Yeah.
Because he's done a year or 18 months at another club and done all right. Do you know what I mean? Hence the reason why he's not in a job, because he's done all right.
Mm-hmm.
But then he goes and picks up another club and he might do well. You've got to be given an opportunity.
You do.
One opportunity is not enough.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Or half, you know what I mean? Half an opportunity.
Yeah.
I look back, 4 months, is it enough? No, definitely not.
No, definitely not.
Were they in a good position? Well, we weren't in a great position, but we were mid-table. Do you know what I mean? You've still got the rest of the season for things to happen, but like I say, you move on.
You know yourself, you make that many good friends throughout football that you can't just fall out with every person that.
No.
You know, because something might come back around.
Absolutely. Yeah, true. Yeah, true. You move.
Has that been your last kind of role?
So South Shields was my last, and I'll be honest with you, since I've sort of been involved in football, I've had little breaks here, there and everywhere, but it's nice to just sort of have a little look back now at the minute. I'm reflecting on what I did right, what I did well and bad and all that sort of stuff, but enjoying going to games. I do miss it, and I want to get back in 100%. And I'll get back in at the right time and the right opportunity will come along. Might be tomorrow, might be next week, might be next year, who knows, but I still want to get into it. I'm enjoying watching my son play. He's at FC Hartlepool now, and who've got a good setup, good team, doing all right. So I'm enjoying watching him play. As soon as that phone rings, if it rings, when it rings, I'll be interested in going, to speak to somebody or whatever. And
so is he playing for FC Hartlepool in the Northern League?
He is, which the level, listen, is all right. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But in terms of...
Are you like your dad with him or no?
Well, I used to run his Sunday team and I was turning into my dad. So that's when I sort of said, listen, I need to step away from this. So I was running the Wynyard team.
Right.
I did that for a few seasons and I used to always say, again, it didn't harm me because it toughened me up a little bit and stuff like that. But I was sort of turning into my dad a little bit in terms of he was getting a bit of a rough time. And I thought, I need to move away here. So I ended up, the Wynyard team broke up anyway because of lack of players and we had a good little team as well. And he went to Seton Carew and he did really well. And I would stand by myself and I sort of, through gritted teeth, keep quiet. Do you know what I mean? Tend not to shout anything unless it was blatantly obvious. Then I would have the occasional rant, but very few and far between. And then I would have a sort of word in the car, on the way back and sort of just get into him a little bit and say, listen, this is what you need to do better and all that. But he's doing all right. He's progressing well. He's a bit of a late developer like I was, but in terms of, he's 6'2" probably now. He's really tall, but very lean. Mm-hmm. So he needs to fill out into his body, but he's enjoying it. It's his first taste of men's football, so we'll see where it takes him.
It's like I took Charlie yesterday to watch South Shields and we stood right near the pitch, and he loved it. He liked it. And he's at the point now where he's playing under 17s football. Though he's a year younger. We've put his team a year up. Then 2 weeks ago, Mark McGinley said, he's got Spennymill under 18s and they're a very, very good team. And I take them on a Tuesday night, but how Charlie comes and trains with them, so he knows them. And Mark said, does he want to be on the bench for us on Thursday night? Well, how Charlie was buzzing under 18 football.
Brilliant.
16. Brilliant. We'd be under town 18s. I was coaching on the night, so I didn't get to see him. But I got back and I said to Mark, listen, if it's a tough game, and I get it that you can't pitch, he's 2 years younger, he's just doing you a favour. I said, but if you win and come to me and get him 10 minutes, I said, he'd be over the moon with that. I said, the experience of is what he's looking forward to.
Of course it is.
I gets there, and I knew there wasn't long left. I'm looking. Is that him playing centre half there? Anyway, as I literally walked round to where Mark was at the dugout, the whistle went, And I went, all right, mate. He went, he's played the full second half.
Oh, brilliant.
And I went, you're joking. They won 9-0, but he played 45 minutes.
Yeah,
But
good.
you know what kids are like, he come off and he went, go on the car. I would see he was beating. He went, I'm going to be honest. He says, I was the best player on the pitch. He says, I'm not going to lie to you.
Brilliant.
And I thought to myself, fair play to you. Like, you
Yeah.
enjoyed it, you're confident. And just seeing him, you know, they all have aspirations to play for Man United and
Yeah.
all the top teams.
Yeah.
But I think he's just starting to see now there is a level
Mhm.
where you can get like Northern League, Northern
Yeah,
Premier
yeah.
League,
Yeah.
National League. That's still good level and it's
Absolutely.
still good football. And taking them there yesterday and watching them two centre halves, Robbie Tinkler and
Yeah.
Man, you know, play and stay on the ball and wait.
Yeah.
That's what our Charlie does really well. So I said to him, look, that's what you
Good to see for yourself and see the standard. I'd see a lot of the non-league football, like you say, while I'm not sort of coaching or managing, and there's some players out there in the lower levels. And I think do it at the lower levels on a rubbish pitch, no disrespect to the teams that's in them leagues, but on a cold night, you know, if you've got something about you, you can go higher. I'm telling you, you know, I've seen loads of teams this season where I've sort of looked at players and I'm thinking, you could definitely play higher.
Josh Daly there, Tom.
Josh Daly's a good player.
I hadn't.
You see, Josh is a good player. He's one of them who can definitely play higher. I think he went to Bishop Auckland probably too soon. Didn't quite fit with who they had there, characters, but yeah, he's done really well. There's a few others.
We've got a few ex-academy kids.
There is. Yeah, there's some good players.
Keep looking, going, I know that name, I know that name.
It's a good setup as well. And
Yeah.
there's another sort of team that's ambitious. You know, they want to progress. They're not just there to make the numbers up.
Yeah.
They've got a little bit of money behind them. You know, there's good plans in and around the ground. And so it's a progressive club.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Very good. Tom, before we finish, can we do a bit of quick fire crack? So these are just some questions for you.
Absolutely.
People getting to know you better. Favourite goal you ever scored?
Oh, there's been a few. I remember scoring against Blackpool for Hartlepool from the halfway line, sort of thing. Lobbed the goalkeeper, which was quite memorable. But in terms of favourites, I'm going to go for scoring at Anfield.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's my favourite goal I've scored because it was about 9 yards out, maybe. But the whole sort of the occasion, scoring at the Cop End,
Was that for Sunderland, Tom?
that was for Ipswich.
Or was it? Right?
Yeah. It was like, and I've sort of got the photo and I've got Gerard's shirt as well. He's sort of not tracking me, so he's behind me. And as I've sort of side-footed it into the corner. So that's, like I say, in terms of the goal, it's not my favourite, but it's my most memorable.
Yeah. Perfect, mate.
Yeah.
Hardest opponent played against?
Yeah, I mean, very fortunate to play against some of the Premier League's best midfielders.
Yeah.
You know, the Roy Keanes, the Scholes, the Gerrards, the Lampards. But the best and the most toughest opponent I played against was Patrick Vieira, without a shadow of a doubt.
Wow.
All arms, all legs. I was fortunate to play against him a few times, and you can't get near him. And if you think you're fit and you think you're sort of up to task, no chance. He is box to box, all arms, all legs, like I've just said, and such a good player. Never gives the ball away. Used to score goals as well. Obviously good in the air because of his size, but an absolute machine, a beast. Yeah. Yeah.
What an answer. Most talented teammate?
Well, it depends what era. I mean, I will mention Stewie because as a youngster growing up, I mean, it'd be rude for me not to. We had a fantastic team, as we spoke about in the early parts. But Stewie was frightening when he was younger. Absolutely rapid. He developed quicker than anybody else. You know, he was a young man playing in junior football, and no one could get near him. So as a young kid, definitely Stewie. And then as you go up, you come up with some great players, playing against some fantastic players. But senior level, there were some great players. Pablo Canago for Ipswich, Spanish lad, and a lot of people might not have heard of him, but he was the best centre forward I've played with, certainly.
Right.
Skillful, technically unbelievable. Me and him just had a connection on the field. I would play balls around corner. I didn't even have to look where he was, and he'd be there. And then it enabled me to get the other side. I look at a lot of these teams now, a lot of players now who get coached and developed, and they go, take a touch. Why take a touch when you can do things first time? And in the game when I played, I'm playing balls on the corner first time, and he's giving us it back, and my midfielder's out the game, gone. He's still there. So why would I take a touch for him to get tighter to me or to get closer to me? If he's on, I'm playing it around the corner. 9 times out of 10, Pablo will give me the ball back. I'm gone. He's out the game.
Yeah.
We're attacking, and it worked so good. And what a lovely lad! But technically, he was unbelievable. He scored goals, both feet, so strong, back to goal. Yeah, he was brilliant.
Fantastic, Tom. Funniest player in the dressing room?
Had some good characters. Funniest, Simon Furry, definitely, who was at Swindon with me. Hilarious. He's got a podcast. Check it out. I mean, Scottish. Search him. He's brilliant. Does a podcast in Scotland.
Yeah.
Jim Magilton was funny. Going back to the younger one, Chris Macon was a good character. But a lot, you know.
Yeah.
There's been some good funny ones. So there's been a few, mate. It's hard to
Excellent,
sort of pinpoint.
Favorite ground you've played at?
Without a shadow of a doubt, Anfield. I've played at Wembley. I've played at all the big ones. You
Yeah.
know, Old Trafford, the Arsenal, Highbury, the old Highbury was good, but just Anfield, that real sort of, you'll never walk alone. When you're walking out on that tunnel and you sort of see the sign, you know, this is Anfield, and you're touching it, it's what dreams are made of.
Yeah.
I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I had a little spell as well as supporting Sunderland, Liverpool, my second team. And
Yeah, I think I remember that.
I went to
So,
Wembley and watched them against Arsenal in the Little Woods Cup final. I think when I was 8, 9-year-old, they got beat 2-1. And growing up, Liverpool were definitely my sort of second team. So to run out at Anfield and that song, and you're lining up and you're playing against some top players, but the song and the fans have all got a scarf when you're walking out. It's very, very sort of emotional, but like sort of the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. It's brilliant.
Fantastic. And you've played there, haven't you? Different level, but you've played there.
You did, didn't you, for Head Monitor? I remember that.
Obviously, having a laugh with the lads I coach with and saying quiz questions. Name a player that scored a Harry Grant for I'm waiting for mine. Here it comes.
Yeah.
Best and worst trainer you've played with?
I've been at that many clubs, with that many players. I think the best, the most dedicated, or someone who, Darren Bent.
Right, okay.
So at Ipswich is a sort of, he was a young kid coming through and obviously played in the same team as myself and was fantastic. But him and Ambrose, who were joined at the hip, you used to have to drag them in after training. They would stay out all afternoon and all night if they could. They were just sort of like excited young kids, you know, who just wanted to practice. So off the top of my head, I would say them in terms of how long they wanted to train and how dedicated and how committed they were to training. Matt Ritchie was similar. The Canio used to drag him in and say, Matty, that'll do, that's enough.
Right.
He used to just cross ball after ball, work on his crossing. Hence the reason why he got to the top, you know. So there's been some good trains along the way, some good trains. The worst, who would the worst be, if I'm honest with you? There was some lads who didn't train at all and just rock up on a Saturday and play, you know what I mean? They would like, I'm injured. Certainly in the younger years, you know, I couldn't be bothered to train today, but on a Saturday they would turn it on. But I'll be honest with you, I'll have to pass on that because no name is coming to mind, really.
No problem. Sum up your football journey, Tom.
One word, eventful.
Right, yeah.
Eventful. I think there's been ups and downs. There's been rejections. There's been highs. There's been some tough times. Some, like I said, some highs, good times. So probably eventful.
Yeah.
But wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't change it.
A couple more for you, then we're done. What music are you into now, Tom? Is it still the rave or?
Well, I like a bit of everything, if I'm honest with you. So I do a bit of education stuff and on the bus, and the lads will put all this band music on, and it's like, what is going on here? But I'll go along with it and just sort of like play along with it. It's one of them. But I like everything. I like me love songs. I like me 80s. I like me dance. I don't mind country. So I am very, very varied when it comes to music. But I do love the 80s era. But if I'm on a long drive somewhere and I've had enough of the radio or talk sport or anything, the 80s is on, and that helps pass the time, and there's some tunes on there that 80s.
You've got a podcast you can listen to now, Tom, though, to pass the time.
Oh, well, I can, yeah. I listen to some podcasts now, yeah, true. When I haven't listened to podcasts, yeah.
I'm quite varied in my music.
Yeah, I like everything. Depends what sort of how I'm feeling, I think, as well, yeah.
Bit of country music. People can't believe I like country music, even.
I don't mind a few country songs, yeah, dance.
It's become more like...
Yeah, more relevant, I think, isn't it now? Yeah.
I can't, there's something about band music I just can't get away with. You know, like the Oasis stuff, I just can't. I don't know why.
I like Oasis, yeah.
Oasis.
I wasn't one of these who was queuing for tickets and wanting to buy them, but I don't mind the songs, yeah, Oasis.
You know, when they were out with Blur and stuff like that.
I've fussed on Blur now.
That just wasn't me. I was more R&B and stuff like a bit of garage music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind a good love song. I've been listening to a bit of Leona Lewis recently.
Ah.
Where it came from, I'm just it was Spotify, and I was like Leona Lewis, and I just put it on.
I probably shouldn't admit to this, but I did see her live in Sheffield when I was in Sheffield, and it wasn't a great concert in terms of she just stands there and sings really. There's nothing going on, so it was a bit boring. But in terms of her voice, unbelievable.
And last quickfire question: if you could go back and give young Tommy one piece of advice, what would you give him?
Oh, good shout. Well, he doesn't drink, which is a good sign, which I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, because if I sort of went back, I probably would still do my life over again because there was no harm in it. And like I say, from a social point of view and team sort of spirit, it helps. I think just to work every day. Do you know what I mean? Don't ever think that you've cracked it and to reach high. You know, I look at him sometimes and I think you need a bit more belief. Just believe and never give up.
Yeah,
Really, because a lot of lads will listen. It's hard to be a professional footballer. It's hard. You've got to make sacrifice, and you've got to be lucky as well. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. And you could do it at 18. You could do it at 21. You could come in at 25. Just don't give up.
yeah.
Keep believing. I think persevere.
Your journey, Tom, and probably the complete opposite of mine. Like, we obviously played Shotton Boys together, and then we were, Ipswich Hunters both, and then we started like
drifted a bit. Yeah.
Like mine just kept going up and up and up and up and up. Obviously, Lilleshall, England schoolboys, England under 16s, 17s, 18s.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, like, I just thought that was enough. Where you had that little bit of adversity, when you didn't get off.
So maybe push you on to,
You develop a little bit of robustness or a little bit of something in your belly, you go, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Where mine was just like, and then
sailing along highly. Yeah.
And I had nothing in my life that didn't tell me that I wasn't going to be a professional footballer. And then all of a sudden you get to a point where you're signing pro at Man United, you're walking in every day with Roy Keane and everything like that. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, this is it. I've made it.
Yeah.
But I was so far away from it that I couldn't see it. So he's me thinking, I'm not doing extra sessions. I'm going to the betting shop and, I'm going out the night before training.
Or whatever,
So I think sometimes, having them dips and that little bit of adversity can help, in my opinion, can only help you. You're never going to go like that.
I think looking back as well on my career, I think I could have probably done extra, but then you're probably always going to say that. You probably could have gotten a little bit extra out of you. I mean, I look back at certain times and I touched on it and saying I was always first in training. But I'll be honest with you, I was probably one of the first ones to leave.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah. I would do my stuff before training. So I might go in the gym and do a little bit in the gym. Could I have done more after? Could I have been a bit more stronger? You look at all sorts of stuff. But if there's one thing, maybe it's that.
Yeah.
But then circumstances, maybe I was rushing to get home because I was travelling a long way.
Yeah.
Or I was rushing to get back to see the little ones who were just babies, you know what I mean? At certain times in my career, I want to spend time with the kids. So there is sort of different reasons for doing that, but I was definitely first in, but one of the first ones to go. So I could have done a bit more. But
I just think for young kids, growing up, don't ever think that getting released is
definitely not.
Is a bad thing.
It happens to a lot bigger than me, and it'll continue to happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? How many times have you heard it? Bigger names, Gaza and all them too small, and people like that. It happens, doesn't it? And look at the career they've had, and keep persevering. That's definitely, don't give up. I think if you're good enough, you'll get there. Whether it be 19, 21, 25, you know what I mean? You can, and if you don't get there, you can still play at a decent level around the door. Like non-leagues.
Yeah.
As long as a job with it, because football doesn't last forever, so you are going to need something after football.
Yeah.
Whether that be you stay in it in coaching, or you have another skill, or so it doesn't last forever.
Yeah, excellent. And what's next for you then, Tom? I know you would get back into management if that happens, but other than that, what's going on for you?
Well, I'm doing a bit of education stuff with pupils and kids who don't go to school, which is quite. Has its good days and has its bad days, but I'm trying to educate them and trying to help them and try and steer them around the right path. We do different activities with them, which they enjoy, which is the main thing, and they do the English and maths as well. So I'm enjoying that because that's sort of keeping me busy during the week. But then on a weekend, it's obviously football, going to watch games, like I said, watching my son play, or going watching games in higher leagues or any level, really. I just love football, and when it's in you, it's hard for it to come out of you, for you to leave. And hence the reason why I'm desperate to get back into management or coaching, but looking forward to till when that time comes.
Yeah, perfect. Well, Tom, thanks very much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been too long, by the way, isn't it, since
absolutely.
we've seen each other. So thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate it, and it's been great.
Massively appreciate it.
Brilliant.
Great to hear, you know, what you've done over the years, and I always find these podcasts intriguing to just find people's life stories. I find that really interesting, and obviously being close to heart, knowing you from being young, to hear what you've done over your career is amazing, and well done. And thanks for coming on.
Thanks very much, lads. Brilliant. Thank you.
Spot on.
Excellent.